from North Allegheny High School, the School of Champions. It's our 2023 football kickoff show, and a great way to start it with one of the best coaches in the state of Pennsylvania, Art Walker. 6 WPL championships, 3 state titles. Art, congratulations last year, 11-2, another WPL title. I believe that's your 4th here at North Allegheny.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for having us. We're excited about last season, get to return some guys, and hopefully make another run at it this year.
Yeah, you have some key players coming back, starting with your quarterback, Logan Kushner, your outstanding receiver in Kyron Boyd, and Alu, your fullback linebacker. So tell us how you're going to be this year.
Well, you know, Kyron Boyd is 6A Player of the Year, tremendous football player. Big play capability on both sides of the ball and as a returner, so we're really excited about having him back. Tyree Alawalu is a standout linebacker. Now's an opportunity to play some more running back for us than he did last year. And, you know, he's excited about what he wants to show people. Logan Kushner being a signal caller, that we have a 3-year starter at quarterback, which is rare for us. It's a luxury this year. You have a quarterback that has a, you know, very fluent understanding of the offense, can finish sentences and get people lined up, and, you know, correct a lot of mistakes pre-snap. So we're excited about that.
You know, last year that we did your last regular season game against Seneca Valley. If you talk about a defining game, you're losing 26-14, and they stop you, Seneca Valley, on a goal line stand. And it looked like, well, that pretty much was an opportunity that you didn't capitalize on. Then they throw a pick, and you get down and score, and the game's turned around. What did that do to your team? You went on to win the 6A championship.
I think it was a wake-up call in one way, from the standpoint of, you know, we had already made the playoffs, all those different things, but you know, winning that game gets you the section outright. So at halftime, the discussions and, you know, what we told them was at stake. When we didn't score, you know, there was no quit in our team. It showed a lot of character. They said, hey, it's not over yet. We'll get a stop, get a score. We get a brand new ball game, and that's exactly what happened. So their resilience in that moment showed what they're capable of, and I think that's when they believed that they could be in any game possible.
I want to get your thoughts. If we look out in the East, 6A, they have at least 20 or more teams in 6A. Here in the West, we have 5. It used to be 12 or 14. It's dwindled down to 5. You're going to have one more next year. Butler's going to be back. What would you like to see done? I know that they're talking about 2024 counting VOTEC students to try to push some of the 5A teams, I guess, up into 6A, but there are some real questions about doing that. So what would you like to see done? I'm sure no one likes only 5 in your conference.
Well, no, I think it makes it difficult because you're playing, you know, a mixed schedule against 5A teams. That those games may have some impact on seedings if there's a tie in the conference, but other than that, they don't count towards the playoff standings. If we increase the number of 6A schools, you know, that the VOTEC rule could get us anywhere upwards of 9 to 10 teams in 6A. That needs to happen. If that doesn't happen, then we're going to be in the same problem, you know, that we were the last 2 years. It makes it hard because 6A is not going anywhere, because you mentioned the amount of teams that are out in the eastern part of the state. The PIAA has no thoughts of going back to 4 classifications, so it's not going to happen. So we need to problem solve, and there has to be an understanding real quick that the VOTEC is, if it's not going to count, the numbers need to be accurate. Schools need to be held accountable for their numbers. And once that number and that cutoff is determined up by the PIAA, if you're moving up, you got to move up.
Well, here's the only problem I see is I'm using Butler as an example. They have a lot of VOTEC students from area schools. So let's say a kid from Karn City is going there and he's being counted, and his dad says, you're counting him. He's now going to play for Butler, not Karn City. How are they going to stop that? How are they going to prevent that?
Well, I still think the borders are going to come into effect. You know, we have kids that go to N8 that attend Beatty Tech, and there's kids from other schools that attend Beatty Tech as well. But your home school is your home school, and those numbers need to count towards that home school. Just because there's a, you know, the VOTEC kids should not count against Butler's numbers if they do not live within the Butler school district. So once that's determined and those are all ironed out, I think we need to have that understanding of, I guarantee you there's going to be teams that move up if that takes place. You're talking about possibilities like Hempfield, Norwin, possibly Baldwin, maybe Pine Richland. If you do that with, the return of Butler, you're talking of close to 10 teams, which gives you almost a full schedule.
That would be nice. Your dad, Art Walker, one of the legendary coaches, coached at Mount Lebanon, but you played at Baldwin. You ever look back and wish you would have played with your dad?
We do. Probably he has said probably his biggest regret. I was the youngest of four, and having older sisters, and the one who's immediately older than me was a year older than me in school, and was entrenched with athletics and her teams. And when it got to the point where it was a legitimate possibility about, me attending Mount Lebanon, there were going to be some eligibility issues that came up. We didn't do it early enough, so the best decision was just to stay so I wouldn't have to sit out my junior year. It was difficult. It was probably most difficult on my mother.
Sure.
But, all things happen for a reason. We replaced that time where I could have played for him with time coaching together. He coached me for a number of years at Central Catholic, and then he was with me when I came here. And we still talk football all the time. And we have a great relationship, and the game has done a lot of things for us to bring us closer together. So it's worked out. For me, it would have been nice. They were a very successful program when he was there, and played in the championship year my senior year. So it would have been fantastic, but there's no looking back on it negatively now. We just embrace the opportunities that we've had since then.
Having coached against your father, his teams were so sound, so solid. You had to be well prepared to play him. And that was a golden era going with my coach, Art Bernardi, your dad, and Lindy Laurel, Larry Bruno,
Yep.
Carl Ashman. So many of the great, Ralph Fife, who was there at Mount Lebanon before your father. Just a golden era. And I'm going to ask you, someday you may be mentioned in the same breath with all those guys. How do you feel about that?
That's, it's an honor for me. People have always said to me, like, you're in your dad's shadow, and people want to kind of put a negative spin on it. And I say, I'm in my dad's shadow. It's a pretty cool place.
Yes.
And, I'm honored to be mentioned in the same sentence with him. I'm honored to be put in that same category. I'm starting my 26th season as a head coach. I don't know if I ever thought I'd say that.
Wow.
But that's where I'm at. Starting 19 at North Allegheny, excited, still have the energy and the competitive edge to want to attack this thing every day with a great staff and a great group of kids. So I'm excited to get started.
Speaking of your kids, Art, what do you expect from them? What are the three things you may say to them that these are the things you have to do to play here at North Allegheny?
Well, we have to, based on last year, we have to expect everybody's best game. Everybody's going to be gunning for us. We got a target on our back as the champs. We have to live up to our expectations, which is never be settled on what you just did last year. This is a brand new team and a brand new year. So not only do we want to be in a position to win a Whitfield championship, we want to make a run at a state title as well. That's always been our goal. That's always been the standard here. So, understanding there's a process with that you have to work hard. You have to work hard in camp. You have to make each other better. And then you have to continually get better every single week of the season. Those are things that we've harped on with our kids, that laying that foundation from the winter, spring, and through the summer. And now that we've started with pads, the expectations increase, but then our standard won't change. And we expect all of our teams to live up to that standard.
Finally, Coach, you see what's going on with college football, NIL, and now the state of Pennsylvania, PIAA, says that's okay here in the state. I don't think they have a choice with the way the courts have ruled. So if one of your star players, say a local dealership, wants to give them a truck to drive during the season, how do you feel about all these changes?
I'm not a fan of the NIL. I'm not a fan of the transfer portal. I understand the portal may have had
4,000 this year.
May have had to come into effect because of COVID and all those different things. At the high school level, I still think, it's the purest form of sports, and especially with football, I think it should be about your team, your school, your community, and you should embrace the fact that you have been blessed and get the opportunity to play this game, and that should be more than enough.
Coach, I really appreciate you taking time to joining us here. We look forward to coming back September 29th, your game against the defending 5A WPL and state champs, Pine Richland.
Yeah, we're excited about that game. Coach Don does a great job. It's a proximity rivalry, and we're happy to be on, to have you guys here and get everybody a chance to watch both teams.
Thank you and good luck. Have a great season.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Appreciate
I'll be right back with Ellen George.
Armstrong has been a part of Butler County since 1963. We helped you get online with Zoom Internet. Our Breaking Bread program began fighting hunger in our communities. Enhanced Wi-Fi delivered coverage, security, and control of your network. Zoom Extreme brought internet speeds up to 1 gig to the community. And in 2022, Armstrong was named CableFact's Independent Operator of the Year for the 2nd time. When you support Armstrong, you're supporting your local community.
I am back, joined to my right by the Swami, George Abraham, to my left, the Tiger, Albert Campman. Guys, let's go to Spotlight first, and then we're going to talk about being here at North Allegheny. Evie Bliss, Union High School, Reimersburg, the District 9 and PIAA class javelin champ. She earned a silver medal at the Pan American Games in Puerto Rico with a toss of 173 feet. She is headed to Bucknell University. And Grove City College and Knock grad Scott Frazier, he was named the preseason Division III third-team All-American honors. The 6'4", 205-pound Frazier, a senior wide receiver at Grove City. He led the President's Athletic Conference last season with 70 receptions, 1,145 yards, and 10 touchdowns, and more track. Senior Hayden Smith, Union Reimersburg, he won a 2nd straight AAU Junior Olympics title in the high jump at Drake University with a jump of 6 feet, 10 3/4 inches, the same as he did last year. He's going to be heavily recruited this year. He's the District 9 and state champion in the high jump. And BC3 All-American golfer Troy Lockery out of Grove City High School, he won his 2nd straight Eagle County Amateur Golf Championship. He is headed to Point Park. So here we are at North Allegheny. What a beautiful facility here. It's the start of our 2023 kickoff show. You can't get any better than you have right here with these tremendous facilities, and nice talking to Art Walker. What a great success he's had last year, winning his 5th WPL championship, and they're loaded for bear again.
Well, we've never had our name on the scoreboard, that's for sure. So yeah, this is pretty sweet. Matt, our producer, set us up in the sunshine, and you know they have a good football team.
Always
Is
do.
there any doubt about that? No.
And this is the school of champions. They won more district WPL championships than any other school. They won more state championships than any other school in the state of Pennsylvania. No one talks about breaking up the Tigers.
No, it's one of those places where winning is expected.
At every level, And so we start here with high school football, guys. I wouldn't want to be any other place in the country than here in the fall in Western Pennsylvania, where our great high school football, so many outstanding games, so many outstanding players. And we'll be at Butler September the 1st when they open up with Meadville. We're going to do that game live. It'll be broadcast live from Butler all the way up to Meadville, then back down here September 29th when the defending 6A champs, North Allegheny Tigers, take on the defending 5A WPIL and state champs, Pine Ridge and Rams.
Wow. You know, every week, that's another thing, Eddie, you just mentioned. You got to be ready to play every week.
Yes.
You'll get beat in a hurry if you're not ready.
And the only thing, we talked about this before, what can they do with 6A? Now, at one time they were up to 12, 14 teams. They're down to 5. Butler's coming back in next year. But they need to find a way to get this back up to 12.
Yeah, we've talked about that over and over. What a struggle it is when you know you're going to play the same team twice almost every year.
Yes.
It's like a doubleheader.
And not only that, and our college football on the Saturdays from the small schools of Grove City and Slippery Rock of Westminster, and then Pitt, and I include West Virginia, throw them into the mix, and Penn State. How fortunate we are to have this. And then on Sundays, the NFL and the Steelers. It doesn't get any better than this in the fall here.
Yeah, the communities, if you drive around, you know the King's back because there's cheerleading signs up, bands are playing, the families are all fired up, not only for the high school, as you said, Pitt, West Virginia, Youngstown State, all around here, and the Steelers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this time of the year, don't you guys
No,
think back to when you were in
absolutely.
high school and playing? And then we played in that great Midwestern Conference when it was just a super tough conference. So many players went on and played at Division I schools and on and played in the NFL out of the old Midwest Conference.
Yeah, I met with somebody yesterday, and we were talking about the exact same thing. That almost each team had somebody that Ohio State was coming after, Notre Dame was coming after. And George, you grew up in Altoona, it was the same way.
Yeah, and the other thing too, you mentioned Grove City. You don't want to skip past that. They have a lot of good players. They led the league in offense, returned all 11, and they're picked 4th. That's the kind of league. People don't understand that.
How good it is.
Oh, and I said to the coach the other day at Westminster, I said, give us your starters across the front, 6'2", 270, 6'1", 2. I mean, this is big boy football.
I know, and people don't understand.
Oh,
I know
no.
A father said to me years ago, well, if my son doesn't get recruited I'll just send him up to Slippery Rock.
Yeah.
I said, you better take a drive up to Slippery Rock and take a look and see what they have.
Absolutely. Lutzy's loaded.
Yeah, they think you're just not gonna walk up there and play. You better be good. And now with the transfer portal of over 4,000 players moving this year, a lot of them trickled down to the Division II schools also.
That's a runaway freight train, no question. One of the things we've talked about many times, Eddie, you have a good kid. I mean, he's a really good player. So go visit Pitt, and he'll come back and say, I can't play there. Then he'll say, visit Youngstown State. I can't play there. Go visit Slip Rock. Wow, I didn't know I can't play there. Go visit Westminster. Oh, I can't play there.
No.
They end up saying, yeah, you're right, Dad. I can't play in these places.
We have a buddy, no names, of course, kept sending Pitt film of his son. They said, Mr. So-and-so, he can't play here. And finally, after about 4 tapes, they said, please stop.
Yeah, it's very good. It's very competitive. Hey, let's look at the NFL exhibitions. The Steelers start off 27-17 win over Tampa Bay. 1 down, 19 to go, guys. Pickett takes the first team on an 84-yard scoring drive. He was 6 of 7 for 70 yards, a 33-yard touchdown pass to George Pickens. A display of big plays. Is that a sign of things to come? Trubisky just 1 of 4 for 10 yards and interception, and Mason Rudolph 7 of 12 for 132 yards and a TD. So what are we seeing here? People say Matt Canada's offense. Here's what I say. It's what Mike Tomlin will let him run. Mike Tomlin likes to run the ball. Don't take chances, make mistakes on offense, rely on your defense. So will we likely see more of this to come? Last year, I think they only scored 1 game, or not even 1 game, 30 points in the game. They were 26th in scoring. That has to change.
Yeah, and the NFL is now a scoring league. It's not, in the old days, it was a defense one. Now offense one, so you got to catch up and be there offensively.
Explain to me, you guys are bigger Steeler fans than I. They say they want to run the ball. They come out through 7 out of the first 11.
It's what you get in exhibition games. That's what I say.
Means nothing, in other words.
Exhibition games are like first dates. You don't know what you have. You better wait till the
I have
second.
0. It's worse than a first date. It means nothing.
No.
I mean 0.
Yeah. Well, remember the year Detroit went 5-0 and everyone was excited.
Yes.
What did they finish the season?
Yeah.
0-16.
And how about Buffalo with Marv Levy? They lost every game.
Yes.
3 straight Super Bowls.
Now, I remember one year when New England opened the season against the Jets, when what's-his-name was the coach there, came from Baltimore. They were going to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
What was it? Rex Ryan.
Rex Ryan, oh, yeah.
And they beat New England 35-0. Everyone said, they're done. They won the Super Bowl. Yeah, a 35-0 loss, first game of the year. Hey, I want to mention this to you and see, the Steelers have poured all this money into a defense, right? The last 5 years led the league, 257 sacks. No playoff wins. Kansas City, 215 sacks. They've been to 3 Super Bowls the last 5 years and 2 Lombardis. So I was shocked to see that stat.
I'm not, because it's a quarterback-driven league, and then you have the best. That's why you win.
Well, I mean, you think you'd be more successful in the playoffs with all those sacks, but they were not.
It's not. It's quarterback. Well, when you're
Right.
going against Mahomes, unless you're going against Brady.
No, and you know what?
What's that tell you?
The team with the best quarterback.
There you go.
And
You go.
And the other thing too, Eddie, it's like baseball. They get their 3 and 4 hits against the bad pitchers. Like those sacks, they're not sacking Mahomes. They're not sacking Brady, he get rid of that ball in that
or
second.
Josh Allen.
Absolutely.
And we'll have much more to say about the pro season coming up here in weeks. Hey, welcome to the league. Rookie quarterbacks, they had a rough start. Even in the exhibition games this week, Bryce Young, 4-6 for 21 yards in Carolina's 27-0 loss to the Jets. Anthony Richardson for the Colts, he just looked lost out there.
As I said, I don't watch them in their exhibition games when they put their full packages together, because I think Richardson will be a runner more than a passer, and I think that Bryce Young will be fine. I love him.
Would he take a shot the other day in that game? He got hit harder in one quarter than I've seen guys get hit for a year.
Yeah, definitely in Alabama.
Oh, he hit Alabama.
And those are hits by some of the players that won't even be on a roster
Exactly.
when the season starts.
No.
Hey, the Pirates split with Atlanta, and there was a lot of enthusiasm about that. Then they turn around and lose 2 or 3 to the Reds. They are 53-66, 12-17 since the All-Star break, losing to the Mets also 7-2. And it's funny, here are the Pirates and the Mets. The Pirates with a payroll of $73 million, the Mets with a payroll of $373 million, and almost identical records.
Yeah, the Mets went all in on Verlander and Scherzer, and it didn't work.
They're going to win this pennant, but for someone else.
Didn't work.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Scherzer, another great game.
Nutting's
left.
laughing down there saying, listen, I could have the same record as the
Absolutely.
Mets. Only paid $73
And the
million.
Yankees, something's going to happen there.
That's
Something's
just
going to.
crazy.
I don't know if it's Cashman goes or Boone or
Well,
both.
what's
Someone's
going
gone.
to happen, they're going to go after Ohtani,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the reports is 70 to 80 million a year. It's no big deal.
No,
to give him.
He's going to get the biggest contract you've ever seen.
Hey, who saw it for the Pirates about Brian Reynolds? He's boosted his average up about 20 points. He now has 18 home runs, 56 RBIs. He's batting .270, playing a great defense in the outfield. Who's struggling? Rookie outfielder Henry Davis. His average has dropped to .226, striking out a lot more than what he did when he first came up. And center fielder Jack Sawinski, he's hitting .211. And a starting pitching in the last 8 games, giving up an average of 6 runs a game.
Yeah, all the other hitting things I just overlook, but the pitching you can't. And that's the thing in the offseason. They're going to hope Skeen Steps comes in, hope Keller goes back to where he was before in the first part of the year, and then have to sign a number 3 pitcher. That's no doubt for them to be any better.
Yeah, showing promise infielder Jared Triolo, 1 home run, 15 RBIs. He hit that pinch hit 3-run homer to beat the Reds, hitting .276. Here's what I'm seeing for 2024. What do you guys think? You need to find an everyday first baseman. You know, the Pirates line up from day to day. You never know who's going to start or where. I thought Chuck Tanner used to do a lot with lineups, but not as much as Derek Shelton does.
And there's something to that people don't realize. I'm seeing balls dropping between 3 guys and things like that. And one of the reasons is they're different guys there all the time.
You need a first base, you need a second baseman every day, and they have to find an everyday center fielder. As you said, 3 new starting pitchers that they need. Skeens will be one. I don't know where the other 2 are coming from.
Well, I really like a couple of guys down the minor leagues that they throw hard. They're part of the top 50 prospects in baseball. Same thing Baltimore did. I've said all along, if they drafted Skeens in 2025, they'd be good. Not next year. They're not going to be good next year. I see really promise from Endy, from Bagero. Remember, they're missing Cruz, who's their best player. Reynolds is still coming. I think I've said I was right in 2013. I'll be right here again. Now, they have to get lucky and get a pitcher, though, as number 3 or 4.
Will they pay? What the going rates?
No, Lucky.
15 and up?
No, Lucky.
Oh,
That's not going to happen.
Okay.
That's what
That's
they
not
did with
gonna
Burnett.
I got you.
You got to get one of those guys that are older
And you hit the
and hit the jackpot.
jackpot.
Yeah.
Hey, it's only August, but the excitement is pumped up for the Pens with that trade for Eric Carlson, the Norris Trophy winner with 101 points, most by a defenseman in 30-some years. Still not saying that this is going to make them a cup team, but it's a move in the right direction. They got a lot of younger players. Anxious to see what's going to happen here. They have to improve those 3rd and 4th lines.
That'll give Latang a little bit of break. He's on the ice so much. And Carl's is not a good player. He's close to a great player.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys, if you listen to Pittsburgh, which most times I do, it sounds like they fleeced it.
They did.
That's what I
no
thought.
Yeah,
question-
they
no
gave
question
up
about that.
a number 1, number 2 draft pick, but the number 1, if the Pens finish in a position where he becomes a 1 to 10 pick, then the Pens can renegotiate that.
Yeah, there's no question about that they got one of the best defensive. They got one of the best guys in the.
And they got one of the best general managers in Kyle Dubas.
That's what it looks like, huh?
Yes. Hey, college football, guys, remember I said this a year ago? College football is headed to 4 power conferences, 50 to 60 teams. Goodbye to the NCAA. They're headed for a league of their own. Goodbye Pac-12. I thought it was going to be the Big 12 that was going to be in demise. Oregon and Washington join UCLA and USC and joining the Big 10, which is now, what, 18 teams?
In the Pac-12, the presidents refused $25 million per. They got greedy and ended up with nothing.
Colorado, Utah, Arizona, and Arizona State to the Big 12. And that leaves the 107-year-old Pac-12 conference struggling with only 4 schools left: Stanford, Cal, Washington State, Oregon State.
They have to jump into Mountain West. It's the only thing geographically that makes any sense. And I saw the money. The money is so minuscule that it's if the SEC and Big Ten would laugh at it.
Well, one time the Conference of Champions, and now with those 4 schools left and the talk of Stanford and Cal joining the ACC, here the Pac-12 failed to negotiate new rights, TV rights with ESPN and Fox. They made a huge mistake there, waiting for this, waiting for that, ended up with nothing, and now they're not likely to survive.
No, they wanted to stream with Apple, and somehow they turned down money they shouldn't have turned down.
And
But listen, this is supposed to be a sports show.
yeah.
It's all about the money.
I don't care about
but
that.
how can you
The
be-
Rose Bowl's gone.
but,
All
yeah.
I cared about when I was growing up is watching football and great football. All they talk every show is money. Please talk about football. I'm so tired of it.
When you say Southern Cal and Stanford to the ACC, for football, it's no big deal traveling. They're weekend games.
Once every
But now,
2 years.
Now, Wednesday night, you're going to have the Pitt
Absolutely.
volleyball team at Stanford.
Yep.
So here's what's going to happen.
They don't really care. You understand?
No. Here's what's going to happen with these students. They're going to be living on campus, but all their studies online because they're going to be on the road so
It has
much.
to be that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the king wins out. That's
Absolutely.
all. Don't forget all the other sports mean nothing.
Yeah, they buy
It's
all the
king.
equipment. They call the shots.
Well, guys, no one to blame but the NCAA for their rigidness about not moving, including more games, not sharing some of the wealth. They've lost all the major court cases with the Supreme Court, the NIL stuff, and now they pay these huge contracts to athletic directors and coaches, where some assistant coaches make more than college presidents. This is funny at Pitt. The new chancellor got $950,000, and they were that contract was being highly criticized. No one says what Narduzzi and Cape will make, what, $4 and $5 million a year?
Yeah, that's once again money.
Hey, and this saving grace at Pitt, they have a new Alliance 412. Each player is going to get about roughly $12,000 a year. Hey, thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you next week.
Did you know that you could get fast, reliable Zoom internet for as little as $4.95 per month with ACP? Armstrong is participating in the FCC's Affordable Connectivity Program, which helps eligible households receive a credit of up to $30 per month on their internet bill. This program will also increase and improve broadband infrastructure throughout the U.S., especially in rural areas. There's no need to call. Visit ArmstrongOneWire.com/ACP or scan the QR code on your screen for more information and to apply.
From high school sports to community events and beyond, you can find all of your favorite local shows on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.
Hi, I'm Tricia from the Butler Buzz. You can watch my show or other local programming like Up for Adoption or Hunting Nostalgia, only on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.
Check us out right now on Channel 100 or search Armstrong Neighborhood Channel on YouTube for playlists and much more. Spirit, town pride, community. This is the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.